Hey there, my name is Alex, I am the Silver Mont, and this is a review of Red Dead Redemption 2's PC port, and also of Red Dead Online. Back when the game first came out, I reviewed the PS4 version, so if you're curious about a review for the base, game and story content, check that out. In this video I'm going to focus more on the Red Dead Online portion, as at time of writing, I've not even touched the story on the PC mode. First things first, let's talk about the general performance. Because Redemption 2 had a rocky launch on PC. I've been playing the game on the Rockstar launcher, but it's also available on Steam and the Epic Games Store. No matter where you buy it though, you'll be launching it via the Rockstar launcher. So I figured I might as well just get it direct from Rockstar. At launch, many people were having issues where the game just, well, wouldn't launch. Not a problem I experienced, and it seems to have been fixed for the majority of people now, but it's worth mentioning. The game's optimization is good, but also very heavy and bizarre in some aspects. If you're buying this game and expecting to run it at 4K Ultra in early 2020, it's not going to happen. Which a lot of people are taking to mean, oh, the game isn't optimized well. Which, well, if that's how you take optimization, then by all means, no, it's not. You can run it at 4K 60 or 1440p 60, just not at Ultra. Not 4K, maybe at 1440p that's more viable. The game seems to be built for the hardware of the future, because it's very hard to max the game out and hit 60 FPS or above at the very high resolutions. That said, you can get the game running at 60 FPS, it's very scalable, you just need to lower some settings, and it still looks good at the lower settings. With the exception of texture quality. Below Ultra, it looks absolutely terrible, so always leave texture resolution at Ultra, unless you absolutely can't afford to. Now, I won't go super in-depth on details for every graphic option, but if you're wanting to get some frame rate boosts without lowering the quality of visuals in an immediately obvious way, for starters you can turn down the sliders for grass distance and water physics, along with reflections. Even at low settings for grass distance, even the difference between going from like 2 to 10 on the grass distance slider, not all that noticeable. In a few years then, we'll be able to crank everything up to Ultra and hit 60 FPS even at 4K, whereas right now, doesn't really seem possible even if you have the very best GPU on the market. So it's something to be aware of. But honestly, even at a mix of low and medium, the game still looks amazing. As for this video, well, I run the game at 1440p at a mix of medium and high with a few ultras mixed in here and there, and a few lows for things like reflections. And hey, if you don't care about hitting 60 FPS, then by all means, crank everything up to ultra and play it at around 30. As for issues particular to the PC version, well, my games had an issue with crashes upon starting. That is to say, I open the game, I load up online, then as the actual game world loads, it crashes and gives me a weird error, crash to desktop. Now usually I can either just keep restarting until the game decides to work, or I can go into the game settings folder under like my documents, the Rockstar Red Dead settings. Then there'll be some files there called like SGA. Deleting those seems to make it work. Rockstar also suggested putting in a launch command, like ignore pipeline or something, but that wasn't really working for me, as well as just deleting those SGA things. I think this particular crash is something to do with Vulkan, because the game can either be run on the Vulkan API or DirectX 12. Personally, I've been sticking with Vulkan as it seems to perform slightly better, apart from these crashes. Still, Rockstar have patched the game a lot, so I'm glad they're trying to keep on top of these problems, and I imagine give it a few more months and everything will be ironed out. Shame they couldn't have that done for launch, but oh well. And speaking of launch, as soon as the game came out, for a few hours, it was almost unplayable in online because of some mysterious issue causing the frame rate to go to like 5 or 10 when multiple people were in a session, and well, Red Dead Online is designed to have multiple people in a session, so obviously it was trying to put as many people in there as possible. Thankfully, Rockstar fixed that after just a few short hours. It'd be nice if 343 could patch Master Chief Collection to not have unplayable input delay in campaign. The game supports mouse and keyboard as well as gamepad, but I must say mouse and keyboard feels odd. Rumble is used quite a lot in Red Dead. Aside from, gun feedback, it's used to help locate treasure maps, or when you're fishing. Losing that tactile sensation when playing on a keyboard is odd. And whilst you will enjoy greater precision with a mouse, something about the gunplay feels off to me when using it. I'll use it when sniping, but otherwise I honestly just prefer a gamepad for horse movement and general traversal. To me, it's clearly a game built around gamepads. Whilst the controls are definitely serviceable in mouse and keyboard, I just don't think they are ideal. This is a game where, for many of the weapons, you have to cock it as well as firing it. So, in practice that means you press the trigger once to cock, once to fire. On a mouse, it just doesn't feel right compared to using an actual trigger on a gamepad. But hey, that's just me. As for Red Dead Online, I played it briefly when it launched and there was virtually nothing to do, but a year later, we've actually got quite a lot to do. I am well over rank 100 and I've tried out everything to make sure, it works or what it's like. So you've got several story missions in Red Dead Online which can be done co-op with your friends, as just about everything can be done, or with strangers. Annoyingly, you can't do story missions by yourself in online. That is to say, you can't do them solo. I ran across one instance where it was late at night for me, and I was trying to do the low honor missions, which can only be done if you have low honor, which is almost hard to get because you pat your horse once and your honor shoots up in this game. But I wanted to do all the story missions for the sake of completionism and seeing what they're like. So I had to wait sometimes 20 plus minutes to find one other person to do these low honor story missions with, and the option to do them solo would be nice. Now, the cutscenes wouldn't make as much sense because the characters in the cutscenes always refer to you as a group, so there is that, but honestly, just let us have the option to play them solo, I think would be a better idea. Then you have your basic PvP modes, things that are, variations of Capture the Flag, King of the Hill, Team Deathmatch, and lots of wackier game modes as well, involving horses and things like killing with a certain weapon gets you a higher score than with other weapons. They have loads of variations. Outside of that, we have the free roam activities, doing missions for strangers that reset after a certain amount of time. You can go hunting, play poker, and so on and so forth. There's also several roles you can partake in. Each of these costs around 15 gold bars to unlock, but more on gold bars in a bit. These roles, and currently there's Trader, Collector, Bounty Hunter, and Moonshiner, which is a sort of advanced trader in some ways. They can all be unlocked. So you can have all of them. You can be max rank in every role. You don't have to pick one. Trader involves collecting animal parts, salvaging them into goods, and then selling them in your wagon for a sizable reward, with the potential of other players trying to encroach upon your wagon deliveries to steal it. Bounty hunting involves, hunting bounties, dead or alive. This is the only one that directly rewards you with gold as well as money, but it's also perhaps the least rewarding at the moment, and after I hit rank 20 in it, I've not really had much desire to go back to it, as it's just not as good. You also have higher costs, as you need to maintain your guns and ammo, meaning the lacking rewards are even more lacking when you take that into consideration. And it's the only one that directly involves combat, so you'd think it would be the most rewarding, but whatever. Finally, there's Collector, which is probably the best one in terms of, just making money. Essentially, you collect sets of items, such as a collection of bracelets or necklaces or antique coins. And if you hand in the full set, you will get more money than if you just handed them all in individually. You also get a lot of experience for handing them in. And there's no real costs involved with this one other than investing in equipment such as a metal detector and a shovel, and maybe maps if you're buying the maps. Past the initial investment though, you can be absolutely rolling in money once you start handing them all in. It also lets you explore the world and just take in the sights, which I enjoy. Now of course, you can do all of this with your friends, even if they don't have the role. They can join you in the activity and get something out of it. You can even pick up collectibles when you don't have the collector role, which is nice. You can also form posses to play with friends. Temporary ones and permanent ones. Permanent ones cost $200, in-game obviously, to form, and you can give them their own name. But I would like to see more features added for these permanent posses, such as people being able to use or join the posse even if the leader isn't online. It should be more of a group activity and less of a the leader is on, let's help him, if that makes sense. I feel like if any one of the posse is online, they should be able to join it and do the activities or things for the camp. But how about those gold bars, that premium currency? Well, Red Dead Online has two forms of currency, dollars and gold bars. Dollars are obtained from just about everything, whereas gold bars are a little more rare. 100 gold nuggets equals 1 gold bar. You can buy gold bars with real money, but you don't really need to. Certain items can only be bought with gold, such as gold plating for your weapon and some clothing items. Then there's obviously the roll unlocks themselves, which cost gold. You can also use gold to buy items that you aren't high enough rank to buy normally, although the cost can be excessive for bypassing level requirements. And in general, you can use gold as an option to buy certain things, like maybe it costs $500 but you could also instead use 4 gold bars. I know people hate microtransactions, I honestly don't really have the problem with them in Red Dead Online, but that might be because I've played a lot of the game. I also started with 50 gold bars from pre-ordering it on the Rockstar store, but honestly, you can make a lot of gold bars just from playing the game, especially if you budget yourself smartly and you don't immediately go for gold plating on your weapons or something like that. There are streak bonuses for doing the daily challenges, each of which rewards you with gold, so logging in to do one daily challenge a day to keep your streak going is not hard at all, especially as some challenges are things like visit a shop or do an emote at another player. After a streak of 20 some days, you have a 2.5 times multiplier on your rewards, so if you were doing every challenge, you'd be getting like 5 gold bars a day. That's not including all the extra challenges you could be getting from the rolls, and each roll adds 3 daily challenges, if I remember right. So that's like more than 10 gold bars a day just from doing every challenge. Yeah, you don't really need to buy it when you're getting that much. Also, unlike GTA Online, Red Dead Online remains somewhat grounded for now. There's no flying horse with turrets shooting out homing dynamite arrows at the moment, and I enjoy that. But there is definitely some balance issues. Higher level players using a sniper rifle with explosive ammo, it's a bit much. A lower level player can't really deal with someone doing that to them. There's also abilities and tonics, which again I'll talk more on in a little bit, but aside from that, if we're looking at the low level guns and horses, those don't really matter. Any headshot will kill in a maximum of 2 shots to the head. Usually it's 1 shot to the head, but there is a certain ability that makes you take, 2 shots to the head. But the difference between the lowest level gun and the best gun really doesn't matter very much. As for horses, I mean, you could have the worst horse in the game versus the best horse in the game, and the difference is minimal, to be honest. Horse stats, I think, are normalized in races, but I'm not 100% sure on that. Needless to say, the horse I've been using for hundreds of hours has something like 5 speed. If I compare it to my horse that has 10 speed, there's barely a difference between them. Now, as for the abilities, some of them are way better than others, and frankly, I think abilities should be removed entirely in competitive modes, as well as items, that is to say tonics. There is no reason to let people be drinking these tonics that allow them to tank multiple bullets and restore their health during a deathmatch. And again, there's no reason why abilities should be active in deathmatches, because some of them are just giving an unfair advantage to players who have played the game more. For example, if I made a certain combination of abilities, me who's played the game is like well over rank 100, I'd be basically invincible against someone shooting me anywhere but the head. Which, that's just not fun. It should be more normalized and grounded. These abilities should only be in the open world segments of the games. How hard is it to do that? But that's just me. Likewise, they really need to fix the camp situation. You have a camp in Red Dead Online that serves as your home base, but if there's nowhere to put it, it just vanishes. Then you have to either pay to put it down again, or join a new session, or just keep otherwise finding ways to make it respawn. It can be very annoying at times, and I assume it's a problem caused by too many people in the server needing their camps in one region. If you're playing with 4 friends in a posse, for example, you'll run into a lot less of this problem, because there's going to be there's going to be like 3 less camps in the map, because you and your 3 friends will all be sharing one camp. I don't know if the solution is to lower the player count in lobbies or what, but overall, Red Dead Online, I think, is in a fun place right now. I'm enjoying playing it. I mean, as mentioned, I'm well over rank 100. I have like 200 plus hours in the game, and I've not even touched the story mode yet, and I loved the story mode on PS4. They've added a lot of content since launch, and they've improved the game a lot too. No more constant griefing from everyone who can see you across the map. And there's a new defensive mode which makes it harder for people to attack you. Not impossible, they can still kill you, but it gives you a lot more time to deal with these griefers and such. Going forward, I'd love to see them put in more mini-games, such as Liar's Dice from the first Red Dead. I think horses shouldn't really have stats tied to their coats, and in general I would like to see some more variety. You know, just more weapons, horses, things for us to reliably do together. Oh, and just putting it out there, Undead Nightmare 2 would be fantastic. Give us hordes of vampires or zombies to fight with weapons like crossbows and whatnot. Some sort of wave-based survival mode might be fun, but I suppose maybe they took that and organically put it in the world as gang hideouts, whatever. But if you put some nice twists on it, I think it could be good to have as its own mode. But that about covers it for the PC port of Red Dead Redemption 2. Maybe I should stream the story mode. Would you like to watch that? Either way, thank you so much for watching this video, and if you have any questions, ask them down below, and I'll get back to you ASAP. Ciao!